Hello, I am Zinfogel. Today we are covering Moltres' legendary arena. This battle is fairly simple when you respect the weather gimmick, so let's begin. Moltres is weak to rock and water. It uses very strong moves for both offensive spectrums, and it has the standard status resistances of most legendary arenas. Moltres' gimmick is weather control. Moltres constantly summons sunny weather, and it does all sorts of horrible things when sunny day is active. It can burn, debuff, restore health, amongst some other things. This doesn't even account for the fact that sunny day innately boosts fire type damage by 50%. And if you want to use fire type damage to take advantage of sun yourself, Moltres has a dual fire guard to deter you from doing so. The key to this fight is changing the weather. Moltres' stage has a special condition where any summoned weather becomes permanent. As long as you counter Moltres' weather with some of your own, it becomes a lot easier to handle. Something that will also help you here are flinches. Much like Entei, Moltres becomes increasingly more resistant to flinches, but never immune. You can spam flinching moves to stagger Moltres and prevent damage. Lastly, Moltres has a penchant for debuffing speed when the battle starts. This can be very annoying to deal with, so speed control is recommended. So, the way Moltres' weather works is that it will open the fight with Sunburst. When it crosses its second health bar, Moltres will set up a Sun again. It will then resummon Sun when it reaches 50% health. Moltres repeats this pattern for its third health bar. When doing this battle in one sitting, you have to account for 5 weather procs if you want to fully counter Sunny Day. The free-to-play queen of this legendary arena is, without a doubt, Acerola. Palossand is borderline made for this encounter. 1-5 Acerola has Sandstorm Mood Point Refresh 3, Astonish Aggravation 1, and Succinct Sand Wand. She has a refreshable weather control, a 60% chance to flinch, and recovery derived from sand. Another option to consider are rain setters. For example, Archie plus May have 3 weather uses at 1-5. Summer Steven is also great for this fight. He summons Hail when using his Sing move, and he can flinch Moltres with Icicle Crash. For this fight, Rock-type strikers are preferable, though Water-type strikers are also very viable. You should consider strikers with flinching capabilities so they can help keep Moltres in check. Olivia and Emmet deserve a special mention for their potent Rock-type damage. As far as tanks go, having some party-wide healing tools helps a lot, especially if you are resorting to Acerola and her partners don't have a Sand Shelter. Ingo deserves a special mention because he can summon Sandstorm to aid with weather control. If you don't remove Sun quickly, Moltres may have a chance to spread AoE burn on the party. Passives like Healing Hand 2 can also come in handy. Alright, here is the example I want to show you. I have another attempt that used Sycamore plus Meilin and Acerola, which works really well, but if you are watching this video, you probably don't have Sycamore. So here I got Skyla plus Cyrus and Acerola. If you don't have Cyrus, then you replace him with your best striker. Barry and Empoleon, Emmet and Archeops, Olivia and Lycanroc. Use whomever that best fits the criteria of Moltres counters that we discussed earlier in the video. Now, the key to this strat is Acerola. Skyla and Cyrus happen to be circumstantial, because they are good free-to-play simpers, but they are replaceable. Skyla is a decent tank who has defense and speed buffs to help the party, and she also has some really potent potions, especially when augmented by her Singrid, although a 1-5 Skyla can get through this battle just fine, but it largely depends on how lucky Acerola gets with flinches. Cyrus is a free-to-play legendary sync pair, so if you play his event, you have access to him, and he is a monster of a DPS unit. He is very self-sufficient, he can both special attack and crit by himself, and he also enters battle with regeneration to fully sustain his offense all by himself. But Acerola ties everything together. Acerola is the best free-to-play unit at encompassing everything we're looking for in order to counter Moltres. For a quick Moltres refresher, just in case you skipped that part of the video, Moltres is terrifying if you let Sunny Day stay active. It has a ton of sun-based passives. It can burn, debuff, restore health, but if you remove Sunny Day from the equation, Moltres is far easier to handle. And there is a special condition in this battle where any weather summoned becomes permanent. So the deal with Acerola is that she has Sandstorm to remove Sunny Day, so that's our first step at countering Moltres. And she also has a Sandstorm Mullipoint Refresh 3 on her grid, so she has a 40% chance of recharging a use of Sandstorm in order to maintain this weather even if Moltres resummons Sunny Day. The other thing with Acerola is that she has access to Astonish. Now, most new players overlook this move because it's pathetically weak, but it has a 30% chance of flinching, and in contexts like Legendary Arena, where you are dealing with a very prolonged fight, having the chance of staggering the enemy is very potent, because it allows you to stick extra turns and also prevent damage, and it also allows you to reach your sync countdown sooner than what the enemy is allowed to attack. And Acerola's 1-5 grid also has access to Astonish Aggravation 1, so that doubles the rate at which she flinches, so she has an extremely spammy 1-bar move that has a 60% chance of preventing damage. That's very valuable in practice. And when Moltres is already vulnerable to flinches, Acerola just has this combination that fully counters Moltres. She can replace its dangerous weather, and she can also keep Moltres in check with constant flinches and make things a lot easier for your party. So this results in a straightforward strategy. You got your tank, your DPS, and your disruptor. Now here we are about to cross the threshold for a second Hellbar, and I want you to pay attention to something. This entire time I've been spamming Astonish with Acerola, but here I am waiting to visually confirm that Hydro Pump lands and then use Sandstorm. Hydro Pump can miss, so I just want to guarantee that I get this transition. And the reason I do this is to preemptively take out the Sunny Day from Moltres, because remember that Moltres' Sun summons are fully predictable. Moltres summons Sun right when the battle starts, and when it crosses to its second health bar. It will then summon Sun again when it reaches 50% health on this bar, and it will repeat this behavior on the third health bar. So, knowing this information, what you can do is have Acerola preemptively summon Sandstorm, just to prevent Sun boosted damage, Moltres activating its Sun passives. This is why I make it a point to describe the behavior of Legendary Arena bosses, because knowing this pattern, you can manage your resources far more efficiently. Now in this attempt, I got unlucky. Acerola didn't proc a Sandstorm NTR at all, so I only had a couple Sandstorm uses for the entire fight, which is less than ideal, but Cyrus has now stacked enough sync buffs that he can work through Moltres' final health bar, even through Healing Sun too. So what I am aiming at here is just getting lucky with flinches, so that Moltres doesn't actually proc Healing Sun and just keep it flinch locked with Acerola. Even on these emergency situations, Acerola is crowd control is so powerful that if you get lucky enough, you can still get through the battle just fine. So if things like this happen, don't panic, just try to get through all of the health that you can, and if things go dire, you can bring another team to finish off what remains from Moltres, just with another team that works on similar principles. You still have Winona and Candice as free-to-play weather setters, and at this range of health, you could even Toxic Stall Moltres if you have a decently strong defensive core. But yeah, overall, this is fairly simple if you use Acerola. She is really, really good on Legendary Arenas, and she's worth the investment. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them, but that's everything I got to say about Moltres. Best of luck to you. Take care, stay healthy, and I hope to see you another time.